Hi, I'm Lisa Steele from Fresh Eggs Daily. I'm excited to be back at Keller Garden this afternoon doing a Facebook Live for them. Before we get started, I just want to give everyone a few seconds to start watching. I want to remind you to follow Keller Garden on Facebook if you aren't already. Please come follow me at Fresh Eggs Daily, and also follow us both on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, now would be a great time to set up an account. Keller Garden and Fresh Eggs Daily are both over there sharing gorgeous photos of gardens and vegetables and flowers and chickens and all kinds of things. So anyway, make sure that you check both of those out. But today we are kind of winding down to the end of summer in Maine. So I was harvesting some herbs. I want to get those drying and on their way to being dried for use in the winter before we get our first frost. I did let some of them go to flower, which kind of affects the taste. You want to generally harvest your herbs before they go to flower, but some herbs have beautiful flowers, mint and thyme and dill. So I really love letting them go to flower, and the pollinators like them too. They're nice late summer flowers for the bees and the butterflies and things like that. So anyway, I did that. I need to get these drying, but I thought I would show you kind of a neat drying rack that I made, and this afternoon I want to share some other kind of fun projects, do-it-yourself, repurposing kind of projects. I'm super frugal. I don't know if it's because being from New England, New Englanders are supposedly really thrifty and frugal, or it's something that my mom instilled in me. She was a third grade teacher, so she kept all kinds of craft things from toilet paper rolls to scraps of ribbon, popsicle sticks, dowels, all kinds of empty containers, and we just had them in a box in our root cellar. And anytime my brother and I said we were bored, she would tell us to go down. We called it our rainy day box, and we would just have to go and create something out of the things that were in this box. So it was a super brilliant mom move because it kept us busy, but I think it also made me like super crafty, and I don't like to throw anything away. So I'm here in my potting shed this afternoon, and the first thing I wanted to show you was my herb drying rack. So I made this, let me see, I'll just take it down for you. I made this a couple years ago. It has 3 tiers, and all it is picture frames. So if you have some old picture frames in your garage or your barn, or you can pick some up at yard sales really cheaply, you just take out the picture and the glass, and then from the underside, I just stapled in regular window screen. Again, I save everything, so we had a window screen that had a hole in it and we had to replace, and I kept the screen, and I just cut it to size, staple it onto the frames, and then you just want to take some small chain and eye hooks and connect them together, and you've got a tiered drying rack that also folds down when you're not using it. Pretty brilliant. So these herbs that I'm drying right now, I am drying to put in my chickens' nesting boxes. They smell nice, they look pretty, I think they calm the chickens down, they like them. So I'm just not really concerned about keeping the different types of herbs separate, but obviously you could, like if you're drying for your own use, like I have some parsley here, so you can use the different tiers for the different types of herbs. I've got some rosemary, and I just let these air dry. Since they are just for the chickens, I leave them out in the potting shed because I don't care if mice crawl over them or flies land on them, whatever. But if you're doing it for your own use, I would definitely do this in your house, not out in a shed. Got some mint here and some sage. And if you've got on the bigger, I put a smaller frame on the top and then down to the bigger at the bottom. So on the larger sizes, you can definitely put 2 herbs on the same shelf and keep them separate. But it's a really great, easy to make drying rack for your herbs, and I do air dry all my herbs. They all, some dry quicker than others, but they all air dry really nicely. So there you go. You have a do-it-yourself picture frame herb drying rack. I love the smell of fresh herbs, and I love to use them in cooking, so I don't want to harvest them all and dry them. I like to keep some fresh. So next time you have some eggs in an egg carton, hang on to the carton. You're going to want to cut off the top and that little flap, and you'll end up with a nice little herb planter. When you crack your eggs for cooking, you just want to chop off a little bit off the top. They don't have to be perfect. I mean, these certainly aren't perfect, but you want to create a nice little planter that you can plant your fresh herbs in. So once you've cracked your eggs and cooked your breakfast and everything, pull out the membrane, rinse the shells out, and then you can take some of the herbs that you have just cut out of the garden, and you just tuck them into the little pots, and you end up with this really cute little windowsill herb garden where you can have fresh herbs for quite a bit longer. Just fill up each little pot with water, and then, you know, just check the water, top it off when it needs to be. But these herbs will actually live quite a long time just in water with no dirt. And then you can enjoy the scent and the taste in your cooking for well into the fall and probably into the winter. So now that we've got our herbs harvested and we've got some drying and we've got some fresh on the windowsill, we can start thinking about some of our little wildlife friends heading into winter. This is one of my most favorite projects. If you can pick up a coffee or tea mug or a cappuccino mug and saucer at a Goodwill store or at a yard sale or flea market or something, or if you have one laying around, you can make this cute little bird feeder. You want to super glue or epoxy the base to the cup, so it's all one piece, and then, you know, let it dry completely. And then, and you can actually do either or. I think I kind of like to put some bird seed into the saucer part of it, and then fill the center with water. So the birds have a little bird bath, and they also have some nuts to eat. You can do it the opposite. You can put the seeds in the cup and the water around the edge. But either way, the birds, I actually do this for our little red squirrel who likes to come around for a snack. And you can just put this on a porch railing, or you can put it on your picnic table or on a flat rock, or, you know, wherever you want to. But it just makes a really cute little easy to refill bird feeder. And then another fun thing that I really like to do is to make toad houses. This isn't necessarily the season. I think the toads are probably going to be hibernating soon, but maybe in the early spring. Toads really like to get out of the sun. They like a cool place to hide out during the day because they're basically nocturnal. So if you have a terracotta pot, let's see if I can do this on the first try. What you want to do is just not do that. Okay, so it's not that easy. This was actually my third try. But with a hammer, you just want to kind of bang carefully the lip of the terracotta pot and make like a little entrance for your toad. And then when you put it down in the dirt in your garden, you can also scoop out a little bit of the dirt under the entrance to make it big enough for the toad to go inside. And then just put this under a bush or, you know, up against a fence or something in your garden, and your toad will really love having a little house. There's the hole at the bottom of the pot will actually help the heat escape, and your toad will be nice and cool in the summer. I also like to take one of these planter vases and just set it next to the toad house, fill it with a little bit of water so your toad has something to drink during the day. So that's a fun little project, but as you saw, it doesn't always work the first time. So have a couple pots. Good thing these pots are cheap. I'm also really excited to get my toad house in place. I found a nice location here under the rose bush. It's in the sun right now, but it's actually in the shade for most of the day. So this will be a really nice location for the toad house, and it's near the chicken coop, so he can eat all the flies that want to hang out near the coop. So figure out where you want to put your house. I'm going to put it about right here, and then just using a spoon, I just like to scoop some of the dirt that would be inside the house to give him like a little depression to sit in, and then you want to make a little opening where he can come and go, since our hole in the pot wasn't really very big. So if I put it there, he should be able to scoot right in and out of his house. This is a great project for kids. They really should enjoy it, although Make sure you have a lot of pots around, because as you noticed, it doesn't always work well the first time. But if you're doing it with kids, they'll also enjoy making a little little front path for the toads. If you just find some flat rocks, you can just put them in front of the house for a little path for your toad, so he can find his house easily. This is kind of like the fairy gardens that are so popular right now. You got that. This little path into his home. And then, of course, I do like to give him a source of water, because toads need water to drink. And I just use the base of the planter, any kind of shallow dish, and just fill that up with water. So now our toad has a nice little house there under the bush, and hopefully he'll eat loads and loads of flies for us. We're having company for dinner tonight, so I thought I would make another eggshell carton little planter and put some pretty flowers in it to put on the table. We're probably going to eat out here at the picnic table, so same thing. I just knocked the top off of some eggshells, rinsed out the membrane, and then put the eggshells into my egg carton, fill them with water, and then you can just put some pretty flowers, one little flower in each one, and that makes a really pretty, easy table arrangement for your picnic table. Another quick project I wanted to show you. I love old rustic wood, and this was actually an old pallet that I just cut 3 boards the same length, and then 2 boards that were the same length as the 3 laid side to side, and then I just screwed the ends there on each end, so the end boards would hold my 3 boards together, and then I just used some old cabinet drawer pulls, screwed them in, and now I have this really cute little serving tray. I like to use it as a centerpiece at the picnic table, and I'm just going to put my flowers in the center there. And that makes a super pretty, really easy table centerpiece, and I love that it's really low, so everybody's view won't get blocked as we are eating dinner. So those are 2 more quick and easy projects, just using scraps you have around the house to make something really pretty. So those are some of the ways that I just like to reuse and recycle and upcycle things that I have around the house to help you in the garden. I hope you enjoyed this Facebook Live, and ask questions. I will be answering questions. And as I mentioned, don't forget to follow Keller Garden and Fresh Eggs Daily on Facebook and Instagram. I am Lisa Steele from Fresh Eggs Daily. Till next month, happy gardening.